If we feel sick, we go to hospital. The other day, I was showing symptoms of cold. I went to hospital and they found out that I was developing a cold, a flu, and I was given medicine and I was better, okay? How about if your brain is unwell? What happens if you feel overwhelmed? If you're always crying? If you want to be alone? If even you feel suicidal? This month, we join the rest of the world in creating awareness on mental health. My name is Eunice Victoria. I'm the founder of this organization. And what I do is I help practitioners of marketing and public relations thrive at their role. So to help us, as I said, Skills to Grow Africa is joining the rest of the world in creating awareness on mental health. And to do this, today I'm going to share my story on living with a mental health illness and surviving a major depression in 2018. The year was 2017. I was in charge of a department. Part of my work was to market the product. I was in charge of the PR aspect of the product, digital marketing, and administration. Honestly, that was a lot of work that I was doing. And on that particular year, this company was also retrenching. That means some of the people who used to work there in the past were being told to now, how do I call it? Go home or retire early so that they can have fresh talent into the company, and also sometimes also to reduce on costs. So I got myself alone in that particular department. And the work that was done by more than 5 people was now being done by myself. I remember going into that work early in the morning. By 5, I was always there, just because I knew I needed now to put more time into learning these skills that the previous team used to have, and to creating systems that worked for me. And then I'd leave as late as midnight. And I did this for 3 months. I remember also on that, when I took that job, my mom was really proud of me because I was just 26 years old and it was permanent and pensionable. And at that point, the money I was being given was good. My mom was so proud. What happened next? Because of the pride I was giving to my mom, I could not leave that job, and the pressure was a lot on me. And I remember whatever I did, my boss was always looking for something that didn't work. And, and I was really spending a lot of time working there. I remember even just on a Saturday, I leave late. Sunday, I'm thinking about again, how do I work here? How do I make these systems shorter, And I just came to work on a Monday, I remember, on a Monday. And I remember now one of my bosses was trying to tell me that a customer had come to complain. I was like, it's the audacity for me. I had to use that part because I see millennials using that anyway. It's the audacity for me. Like, I work. I come here at 5, sometimes even 4. I leave here by midnight. You don't see the work I do. All you see is the customer complaint, honestly. Yeah, I know customers is who we are serving, but what about me, this person he's serving? And then I remember going to the HR. The HR told me, you have to be patient, just go to work. There's nothing she could do anyway. So that Monday, I was called in a meeting. I remember it was 3 big, huge gentlemen, calling a 26-year-old to tell them, you know what, you're not working hard enough. We want you to squeeze yourself and remove all the hard work where you've hidden. So I remember these three huge gentlemen called me to tell me honestly, a customer has complained. We don't want to see customers complaining. You need to serve customer. And this is Eunice Victoria. I've done my best. I've gave everything that I had. I can't give it. I couldn't give more. That's all I had at that point. And I remember on that particular day, I was really tired, honestly. I could not leave this job because my parents were so proud of me. And then it's proving so hard. I'm doing everything, but the system was just too much. Some of those work I was doing, I couldn't finish at all, even in a month, honestly. And I'd planned to kind of, I'm trying, I don't want to say suicidal, gosh. It was that day, like, I really needed to end the pain. And I'd call it that so that someone is not triggered. We'll do a trigger warning as well. So the only way I could hide or rest was only to kind of not to be alive. So it was that day that I was just going to maybe cross the road somewhere and then let the magari za ronga zinigonge. Yeah. So by the time these people called me that room, honestly, I didn't care. I didn't care about a job. It's my last day anyway. I didn't care about a customer who complained of me not giving enough that I'd already given. I didn't care, honestly. I just tell them, you know what? You three, I don't know how I called you guys, but I quit. I quit. It's my last day. I'm going. I'm taking my bag. I'm leaving. I'm done. I remember even kneeling down and talking into low. By the way, awenu company where? Because I'm going. So I was really done. I took my bag. I remember and then ordered an Uber. That moment I won't forget because when I quit or whatever, it's like I literally quit even the plan. Hiyo plan nilikuwa nafanya ya kwenda siju kucross alafu zigari inigonge. Hiyo plan ilipotea, ilisha hivyo. And for the first time I cried. I remember I ordered an Uber and just entered the Uber and I started crying. I started crying and crying. So there's a point now I'm hearing someone is hugging me. So I'm like, okay, ananiambia ati hata usijali, hata kama umevutwa kazi, you'll get another job. Please don't worry. So I'm like, no, how am I hugging you? Where are you? So he was like, no, I asked you where you're going. You only told me to drive. It was like a movie, you drive, He told me to remove you out of this venue. And then mimi nilikuwa natafuta time kuambia Mungu ako na wewe. Hata kama wamekuacha wewe ni mtoto mdogo utapata. Then I didn't even have time to explain. I said, asante. And then, of course, he dropped me home. Whoever you are, you Uber person, I need to see you. Thank you very, very much. I remember he didn't even take the cash. He just made sure I'm safe. The next time he called, and then I hope you're doing well. If I hear of a job, I'll let you know. At that point, honestly, I wasn't looking for a job. And remember, there's another problem. My mom was really proud, and remember, I didn't want to tell her that I wanted to leave this work. I would have rather died than tell her. So it was time. But remember, I went to my sister's house and told my sister, here's my resignation letter. I resigned. Then she was like, don't worry, I also resigned from my job, and it was a big job. I resigned. So it felt, thank you. So you know what I did for 1 month? Because I used to stay with my mom. I left home for 1 month as if going to work. So every morning I'd leave as if I'm going to work and then come back in the evening. So later on, I discovered that my sister, you, Pauline, I know you. We know you. So my sister, Pauline, had already told my mom that I had resigned. I know she'll say she didn't. Just say it's fine. Just tell me you did. So my mom actually knew that I wasn't working there anymore. And she just kept it. I think when she used to ask me, how is work? I'm like, work is fine. It's been crazy. Yeah, so on that 1 month, I'd go to at Dexter University, I love when, I love when institutions create platforms. So I'd go to Dexter University because I needed to complete my master's degree that I was doing, at least to have something to do rather than just sit there, because I wasn't sure I want to take a job again. So I remember I met one of my lecturers, her name was Dr. Andia, and I told her that I have a plan. I really want to create a company that mentors, empowers, motivates and inspires, young people to live their full potential. And I told her it's because I couldn't get a mentor, to mentor me. I can't get more of motivation. Sometimes you work so hard, but no one cares. At least sometimes to see that your work is appreciated. And then she was like, that's nice. I told her about leaving the company that I left and the one that I had left before that one. And she told me to go and try counseling first, so that at least when I'm going to the next organization that I'm working for, it's okay. Or when I'm starting what I want to start, it will be okay. And then she told me there was actually a counseling center at Dexter. It was called, I think it's still there, it's called Neuro Counseling Center. She told me just go there and do even 1 or 2 sessions. I'd never heard about counseling then. And then I remember going, and then Dexter told me, because you're a student, the first, I think, 8 sessions or 5 sessions I've forgotten, it would be free, but after that, you'll pay 800. I was like, what's a session? What's counseling? I don't know what I thought counseling was at that time. I really don't know. I remember now, on a Friday on that week, because it was about Monday. So on that week, on a Friday, I was called by one of the students, a PhD student at Dexter, who was going to be now my counselor. She told me that she's available on the next week. I think we agreed on a day of the week. I just come. So I went for counseling. I remember sitting, and she was like, you sit here. And then she sat down, and then she asked me how I was. How are you? Like, are you seriously asking me how I am? Like, I don't know. I don't know why I keep looking at Pratt. So, how are you? Tell me about you. Like, if you look at her, she was sincerely interested in how I am. I think I even cried. Like, no one has asked me for real how I am. It's always people taking, and me giving gifts. There, go and wash utensils. Who has done what? You are wrong. But how are you? And then I explained how I was feeling. I told on those bosses that were bad, I told her everything, and she really listened to me. And that was the first time she asked me about my young age, who I was in primary, who I was in secondary, who do I remember, who are my siblings, how are they, do they relate with me, how am I feeling now, what do I want to talk about. It was like someone giving you this tight hug when you need it most. It was so timely. I felt very good. And then now I had something now to be looking up to every week. I went there for around 8 weeks until now. She told me, you know what, we need to do a few tests. Remember, I didn't even know that depression was a thing. I don't know. Or suicidal, me trying to cross the road, I didn't know it's like suicide. To me, it was ending the pain or hiding somewhere, wishing that I wasn't in this world. Like, just forget that someone called Eunice Victoria ever existed, continue with your life, and let's just move on. So that's what I thought. I don't know. I also thought mental health was for the people who are not in this world, who, walk around picking papers, and then you'll be afraid of them, you run. I thought that when you talk about mental health, that's what you think about. I also appreciate because how I'm sorry, sometimes I don't look at the camera, but how this person made me feel, I didn't feel like it's a mental health thing, you know. It felt like a very nice, cool, calm space for me to just share. Until now, she told me, no, it's now time to test. We need to test a few things, and she came with some forms. Actually, she called it self-awareness. She told me next week we'll do a little self-awareness. So this form had, one was written ADHD, one was written bipolar disorder, one was written depression, one was written, I think, autism spectrum disorder, a few of them. And then now we had to test, I think, based on how she had looked at me or worked with me over the 8 weeks. She had some prospective mental health illnesses she thought I'd have. And when she gave me that form for ADHD, oh my God, I scored high. On my past exam, okay, I passed very well. And for the first time, I felt like, wow, you see, it wasn't me. There was something else. It wasn't me, honestly. It wasn't me. There was something, I knew it, you know. Of course, now on that day, she went and told me I needed to go and research more about ADHD. By the way, on the side note, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It is a neurodevelopmental disorder. It's called neurodevelopmental. It means you're actually born with it. That affects the brain's self-management system. And how you look at it, it is characterized by hyperactivity, impulsivity, and how do I call it again? Hyperactivity, impulsivity. I'll get the other one and put down there, okay? So it's just that I know it, but I just forgot because I'm into the story. Okay. So when I researched, I remember she told me to go to TED Talk and just research. I went to TED Talk, and there's a lady on TED Talk. I'll give you the link here because she does a lot of awareness on mental health. When I listened to her, she was me. The things she struggled with, it was all me. You know, we were born different, okay? Life was not supposed to be so hard that when you're overwhelmed, you die. Life was not supposed to be so hard that you couldn't say no when you've been given a million things to do and you just have one life to do it. Life was nice, life was good, life was sweet. You could do what you loved doing. Maybe one day I could be managing my own farm, which fast forward I do. Yeah, so I also they tested me for depression. I scored, but not as high as ADHD. They tested bipolar. No, I didn't have it, and among many other. So it was me going to the class for the first time. What is ADHD? I read about it. Of course, now I was like interested in ADHD. Yeah, I've talked about hyperfocus in ADHD. You focus. That's why, by the way, if you see the people who have ADHD, these are geniuses. I think these are problem solvers. I work well when there's a challenge. When there's something to be solved, I'll work very well. So I'm those people who can solve problems. I work very well when it is a new environment. I get bored easily. So the task has to be new every day, you know. So if this company is hiring me and then I'm typing the same thing every day, honestly, I'll be the worst. The worst typist on earth, you see. And then after their diagnosis, you know, now it was time now to see the doctor. I remember also going to my mom like, hi, Mom, imagine, you can't believe it. It's so exciting. I have ADHD. And she was like, no, like who told you that you don't have? You're a beautiful daughter of God and the Lord loves you. You don't have it. I remember, which it's okay because she also didn't know about mental health. it was now very difficult to live, you know, when you know the condition and also if it's affecting you at that moment, you really need a support system. But if you have a support system who doesn't even know what that is, then it becomes a bit difficult, yeah? So I really tried to create awareness at home. I remember even going to Daily Nation to create awareness in the newspapers. I'll go to my pages to create awareness because I felt like, what if someone has the ADHD and they're still struggling the way I was struggling just because I didn't talk, you know? What if I didn't know? What if I didn't quit and I crossed the road? What about people who have all this? And that's how I became a mental health advocate in the year 2018. I finally saw a doctor and I was given antidepressants because the doctor found out that I had depression, a major depression. That means we cannot trust you with your life, okay? Well, we have to help you and we have to give you some medication to help you. So actually I remember finally my mom went with me to the doctor. Like finally she held my hand and the doctor explained to her some things, you know, about it and so on. And that's how my journey on mental health began. Let me tell you, since I discovered about it, about who I am, that's self-awareness, I've lived the happiest life ever. If you tell me, why do I get bored? I know, you know, you look bored. I know I'm bored, you know. I don't have to explain a few things to everyone. I don't have to hide. I do things that make me happy. And from that day I said, now that I have a voice to talk, I swear I'll never keep quiet. From that day I feel like I've lived a passionate life. I do what makes me happy. I found out things that I was afraid of finding out and now I know them. I wouldn't say that my ADHD is healed, of course I'm told it's a neurodevelopmental disorder, but I know how to manage it. I know when it's time to just keep quiet. And honestly, that's my story on mental health. It was honestly a real struggle. It was a real struggle, especially before I was self-aware, before I knew about it. It was a whole struggle because sometimes you feel like this, but you don't know why. Sometimes you struggle more than another person, but you don't know why. Sometimes you're very brilliant and you have good ideas, but you don't even know where they're coming from or if you want to share them because you don't know how people feel about you. I remember honestly, I was a mathematician. In maths, I was good and I still love solving problems. I wasn't so good in history and theory. And because of that, I thought I wasn't so brilliant, you know. And now I blew my candle kind of off just because I knew maybe I'm not good enough, you know. But because I knew I was very good in maths, what if that was who I am, okay? I'm very good in entrepreneurship anytime. I can create a product in a blink of an eye and honestly even get a customer the next minute because I'm very good at that. Sometimes I also want to see how does it feel to be an employee. If you ask me, I've been employed. Very good. I can apply for a role and get it, okay? But I'm not very good at routine. You know, coming today and typing, the next day coming and typing, the next day coming and typing. What happened to new challenges? What happened to something new, okay? So it's just to advise you that you have to be self-aware, know who you are. It doesn't mean that you do not try, okay? You can always also train yourself, but remember, even if you train yourself that things that not come naturally to you, you will struggle, but do it anyway. Don't give up. So that's how I learned to live with me, and the hyper-focus bit has helped me a lot because I swear, if you're to do something now or solve a problem, I swear you won't win. Aki, you won't win. And then who wants to test, you can test me. If there's a problem that needs a solution, and then you come, we compete. I say utanishinda. That one I can bet. I can bet my life on that. See, those are the things I realize that I'm very good at. Okay, I'm a very empathetic person. I'd feel what you feel, you know, honestly. So if you're the person who will come to the office and shout left, right, and center, you say now, unanishtua, like, because I know you are angry and I can look at your face, I can look at you, your spirit is just so low, so I have to feel it. Unani affects, unanipata. You see, because of that now, honestly, I don't like living where kuna mateso sana, unaona. That's why honestly, I'm always saying I need soft life. Because if I pass there and someone is suffering, a dog is suffering, sijui anataka mtura mahali, mse wa mtura amekanyaga huko aende, like why? Unajua hiyo nani? You see, so I've learned such things because also with such a person, these are the people that help. These are the people we need on this world, because honestly, the world is not a very cool place to live in sometimes. On the story of that dog, I actually bought Tura and gave it, but I couldn't adapt it because my husband didn't accept to. I live with other people in the house, but now the dog is doing fine, I hope so. So what do you do when you have suicidal thoughts? When you're like that Victoria, the person's going to cross the road? The first thing you do is, if you know a mental health specialist, call them or just go and visit them. Go to a mental health specialist. Like on my case, sometimes you said, but they're expensive, they need money. Just go there. You can also find, I know Sitam Valley Road offers, or the Sitam churches, they offer mental health care for free. So you can also go to a local church, especially, I don't know about any other church, but I know about Sitam. Also the university that you go to, most universities have the students counselor. You can also go there. Number 2, reach out to a close friend or a loved one, someone you trust, maybe your mom, but sometimes remember, sometimes they don't even have the information that you're seeking, so they might not give you the help that you want, but reach out anyway. Also seek help from your primary care provider. If that is your sister, your mother, your dad, and so on, please seek help. Okay, just try to explain to them what you're feeling as much as possible so that they understand you. Something else, you can also contact a minister of, you know, the gospel, your spiritual reader, or anyone in the faith community. Sorry about that. As a Christian, we believe that taking your life is sacred, and taking your life is actually signing your way to hell. Let me put it that way. And that is usually the reason why most people don't even take their life. Okay, so please just go into your minister, your pastor, whatever religion you are at, and then try to understand about life and what else you can do to help yourself apart from taking your life. Something else, then, how do you help a loved one? If your sister, a colleague, a friend, a boyfriend, a husband has suicidal thoughts, how do you help them? One thing you have to do, you have to make sure that you tell them that you've realized the symptoms that they are currently showing. Make sure that they trust you, and do this out of a good heart, because mental health is a very delicate topic. So make sure that you tell someone why you're worried about the symptoms that you're showing. Okay, and then have an open and honest discussion with them. Okay, so in Gagota Eunice, I have seen that you always work day and night. I've seen that you don't have any other thing you do but that. I've watched you for 1 week or 2 weeks. Do you want to tell me how you're feeling? Then I'll go like, there's this organization I work with, I can't, you know, so they will give them an opportunity to open up, and they'll feel like they trust you because you're really honest. You may also be forced also to get some professional care. Okay, getting professional care means sometimes going with that person to see a psychologist or to see a doctor. Sometimes you just don't tell them you can just go to Nairobi hospital and see a doctor. You know, sometimes they don't even have the money. Sometimes also, if it's a close family or someone you can help, you can also pay for them for that appointment so that they seek review. Okay. You might also want to go with them to that particular appointment, even to the doctor sometimes if they cannot open up. Okay. So if your loved one is considering self-harm, take the person to the hospital as an emergency. Yeah, please remember there's so many hospitals that offer mental health services in Kenya and around the world. In Kenya, there's Chiromo Lane, I think Nairobi Hospital, Aga Khan, this Madari Hospital. There are many hospitals that offer mental health services, professional mental health services. So please try to know some of them and reach out to the ones that work for you. Something else I want you to do is when you have some money and you can take a card, how do you call it, a medical cover. A medical cover can help you, get very good professional help with very qualified people, especially if you love state-of-the-art services. There's some people who want to be in a certain hospital with this type of services. Instead of paying so much money, please get yourself a medical cover. I haven't partnered with anyone. It's just something that has helped me and my loved ones before. And that's a wrap. Thank you very, very much for watching. I am excited that now you understand about mental health and how to help your loved ones. You can also reach out to me. I always want to talk about on WhatsApp because sometimes I'm busy. Just always chat me on 0729 581 191 and we can help where I can. And remember, I was saying that always have someone you can chat with, and that's us right here. And as we move forward, I'll see you on the next video. But for now, remember that everyone can grow, and Skills to Grow Africa is your trusted career partner. Dun, 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 dun.